and welcome back to my Chats with Shaz. I'm excited to introduce you today to Graham Sharp, Ashley Thixton and Cameron Thixton. And they make up Team Dakar 263, which is a Zimbabwe team racing and taking the flag to the Dakar in 2023. Now, for those of you who don't know much about the Dakar, it is no longer being raced in Senegal. It is raced in Saudi Arabia, and it makes up of 4,000 kilometers of endurance racing through the desert over a period of 14 days. It is brutal. It is like the pinnacle of motocross sports and motorsports in the world. It's like the Olympics. So they are very amped, they're pumped up, and I'm excited to tell some stories, or for them to tell some stories with you. Hi guys, and here they are with me now. I have Graham Sharp, Cameron Thixton and Ashley Thixton, and they make up Dakar 263. Again, racing in the Dakar in 2023. Welcome guys, how's it going?
Morning Shaz.
Morning
Good,
Shaz.
thank you.
How you doing?
Nice chilly day. What we go?
We are in lockdown right now, so we're not right out in the field, but I've asked the guys to come in and have a chat because I think it's really exciting for Zimbabwe to be able to take this flag to the Dakar in 2023. So Graham, let's start off with you. This has been a passion of yours for a long time, but it has also been a dream for you to take the flag, the Zimbabwe flag, to the Dakar. You've already raced once, you've done a solo race, fantastic, and congratulations on your 72nd, right, placing. This time you're taking a team with you, and why did you choose the Thixton brothers, and what is your thoughts behind that, and how do you think that's going to affect you, or how does that appeal to you?
Yeah, I think the Dakar for me was a lifelong dream that I'd seen as a young kid in the early 90s. Every Christmas, New Year, the Dakar was on, and it was the one thing that brought me to the television. Growing up on a ranch, TV wasn't a big part of your childhood. It was always out in the wilderness, but
on motorbikes.
Yeah, Dakar time was January, and it was the good part of the new year. So yeah, I think for me, I didn't really have much of a road to follow. I just had this sheer blinding determination to get there. So it wasn't always pretty, but I sometimes didn't know how I was going to get there, or how the pieces would fall into line, but I just knew from the outset I wanted to get there. It then came about that no other Zimbabwean had done it on a bike, which it took the story to a national point of interest, because it was no longer just my dream. It was, the interest point was, there's a Zimbabwean riding the Dakar. But yeah, I think growing up on a ranch, I never had access to riding competitively in town, going to motocross. I remember my dad saying, if you want to ride, there's 360,000 hectares of bush.
So it was just pure lust for the sport, right?
And then, people say, it's easy, we saw you over 2 years, you got to Dakar, but it was a 7-year journey for me.
Really?
I went in as an appy in 2013. I went to Dakar in South America. I volunteered my time, washing gear, cleaning guys' riding kit, cleaning their underpants, filling their camel packs. I literally, for no reward, immersed myself in the race. And when I came out of that in 2013, I thought, if anything, it's only solidified the race. And fortuitously, I met Dave Reeve there, who was part of a big contingent of Southern Africans, Dale Curtis, Rio and Vinnie Kirk.
He was known as Dakar Dave, right?
Yeah, and he was from Zambia, so I thought, hang on, here's a Zambian guy who's a neighbor. So I took a lot of affiliation with his story, and then thought, hang on, if a Zambian can do it from Southern Africa, then there's no reason why a Zimbabwean can't. So that was how the journey really started, and then my own journey over 2 years got to a point where I was so enthralled and so excited about the experience to Dakar, and then finishing it and the whole euphoria of it. You can't explain it. I just thought it would be really selfish to hang on to this and not share the opportunity for someone else.
Yeah.
And so many people and so many acts of fortune and favor and kindness that got me to the Dakar. I had to pay it forward. But knowing what it needed, and I think my greatest attribute was my strength of mind. So where I lacked in raw talent or speed, I relied on my navigation and my mental fortitude, and that was what I backed, because that's something no one can take away from me.
Yeah.
So back to your question of why these two, I think they've raced in a professional level. They know the mental pressures of what's required. It's a long game. It's 14 days. It's between 10 and 12,000 kilometers, depending on the season, on the year. So yeah, you don't just roll out of bed and do the Dakar. It's a 2-year journey. It's incredibly tough getting there. The administration, the sacrifices, the time, the energy, the focus. But I think for these two, they've raced nationally. They've kind of at the point where they can take their riding to the next step, and the ultimate event in motorsport is the Dakar. It's when you've done the Dakar, you can kind of hang up your boots as such and say, I got to the pinnacle of my sport. And it's an every man's race, but it requires the same mental fortitude, whether you're Toby Price or Graham Sharp. You've got to be hungry, you've got to be comfortable in the really uncomfortable stuff. And so yeah, the reason being, these guys have raced professionally, they know what it takes, and I believe in them. I think there's a huge amount of work to do, and it's not easy. And the next 18 months are probably going to be the hardest in raising sponsorship, qualifying. We've got this COVID pandemic, which is throwing all sorts of curved balls in the air. But I said to the guys, I will make whatever contact or avenue open to you, but I can't provide the fire and the hunger. That's got to come from within. And it is a very exposing race, and it will bare your soul, and it will ask you many times, why are you here? How much do you want this?
Are you guys listening?
And
taking it all in.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, because it makes the victory that much sweeter. And I mean, there's only 2,000 people who've got a Dakar finisher's medal on a motorcycle. It's been running for 45 odd years. So it's a small club, but you got to be prepared in the head to put it in. So I believe in these guys. It's an amazing opportunity, and the light is firmly on them. I've done my Dakar. I'm here to support, but it's really a process of handing over the baton to the next generation, and I hope they would do the same with passing it on. And that's the least I could do after what the country and so many people gave me.
So I'm really glad that you touched on the mental fortitude, because that was going to bring me to my next question for you, Ash. I've watched you racing, and you've always had quite a cool head in competition. But how are you prepared, the grueling part of the next 18 months in the field of the endurance side and getting your physical training up there? How do you prepare for the mental part of it? I mean, can you prepare for it?
Most definitely. The reason why I come in with a cool head is my confidence to the race that's coming up. I'm prepared for it. I know what's going to happen. I've got my parameters that I need to meet, which I know what to do. So in terms of a cool head, as we speak of Dakar right now, my head is far from cool.
I'm sure.
I think I know what's going to happen, but as Graham said, we really don't. You really are going to be put to the hardest test that you can put yourself to. We have started with motorbikes from as early as I can remember. Again, Dakar was like December, January. Cameron and I were Dakar. This is it. We watched. I mean, cheapers. We got guys coming through the big bikes up to the 900s and bringing it back to the 450s, and we know the whole story of the Dakar. When are we doing the Dakar? Do we know that story?
Yeah.
So it grows on you to think, do we have it mentally? We think we do, but right now we don't.
Because it's also that exhaustion. I think you talk about having to get up for your slot and racing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you go there from the bivak, and is that the right way to say it? Bivak. And it's just like pitch black, and you're racing, and then there's dust, and you've got to read that roadmap in front of you, as well as actually holding the bike and knowing where you're going and your whereabouts, so you're not crashing into anybody else. I mean, so it's not just about the endurance of it; it's your mental capacity, right?
Yeah, and I think a context to set the scene for Zimbabweans is, in the context of a Dakar stage, you wake up in Matari at 3:15 in the morning, 4:30 you're on a bike, and you ride to Harare from Matari. That's the liaison, and it's winter, so it's -2 degrees.
How far is that? Just for people of
300
interest.
odd Ks maybe,
Yeah.
400 Ks, but a
In the saddle.
liaison could be up to 500, a long one.
Yeah.
You arrive in, let's say, Nibura for the start of the special, and you race from Nibura to Big Falls, off-road. And that's 8-9 hours,
Yeah.
600 Ks. And then you get to Big Falls, you finish, and then you ride from Big Falls to Kasane. And that's a Dakar stage. It's a
Yeah.
long one, but that's the context of
what
in
a day looks
Zimbabwe,
like.
that's a Dakar day.
That's
So,
massive distance.
and then you do that for 14 days.
yeah.
And
With 1 day break, right?
yeah, with the rest day on day 7, day 6 or 7. So yeah, I think, and if you put into the physical demands on the body, it's 7,000 calories a day.
Sure.
I lost close to 5.5 kgs over 2 weeks. I was drinking 11 liters of water a day. So you've got to understand the body is literally trying to survive. You're trying to conserve muscle mass. You're trying to burn the right energy. And the greatest challenge is when you're fatigued, your concentration goes and then you fall.
Yeah.
So you can be the fastest rider in the world, but if you're not looking after your body, you're going to lose concentration, you're going to hit a small rock, and 2 years of your dream and a huge expectation on you is lost
gone.
because of
Yeah.
a split second of lost concentration. So when you get off the stage, you feel like you've written a 5-hour chemistry exam. Your mind is so tired.
Yeah.
It's concentrating.
So we're talking about concentration and all of that. Now, Kama, everybody knows you to be like such a fun-loving, carefree, happy persona.
Balls to the wall or sit on the floor.
So I wasn't going to say that, but thanks, Ash. It's all or nothing for you. So how do you curtail that? How do you control that? Or is that actually a benefit when you are racing now? How do you think that's going to happen for you?
So, when you say, is it a benefit? Sometimes maybe yes, it could be a benefit if it does go as to plan. But sometimes it's like Ash says, balls to the wall. I have a tendency to just go all out, and either it works or either it doesn't. Having this opportunity brought to us, and such an amazing opportunity, I have told myself that every time I swing my leg over a motorbike, I have to keep reminding myself that it's not about balls to the wall. Because on
Pull in the reins.
on the marathon stage on day 7, day 8, when you've done majority of the race, and now there's 3 oaks ahead of you, and they're a bit slow. I need to remind myself that it's not balls to the wall, because there's another 3,000
Yeah.
k's to go, and it's hard because I like going fast, and it's having 2 older mentors next to me and guiding me, showing me what to do and what not to do. It's an amazing thing that I've got these 2 older guys. Also, like you said, the me bringing the fun. I like to bring the fun to the older valleys.
Are you sitting there and you're crying for why
Your
you're doing
mother.
this? Cameron will pitch up and say,
Thank you,
hey,
Mummy.
why are you crying? What's your story, pal?
Yeah.
So,
A laugh like that is,
Yeah.
he's laughing. Okay, I need to join in on that. So
So I feel sometimes, as much as I could be angry, I like to turn my anger into a positive, and it brings good energy to a team. With my energy and Ash's energy and Graham's energy all combined, it brings this big structure of that things can hold us together, of the seriousness.
Well, because you're not
Between Ash
going
and
in
Graham.
blind.
Yeah,
You've got
correct.
Graham's wisdom
Correct.
to show you the way, but I think to keep it light as well, and I think that's where your personality comes in. You have a great ability to keep things light, and I hope that sees you through to the end. I'd be interested to do another one of these afterwards and see how you guys, are you still friends after all of this?
No, I think just to add, I think it tests the human spirit, and your human spirit's got to go into Dakar in all its glory.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be times when
It's a love-hate.
all you can do is laugh at yourself and the situation, and make no mistake, you think you're in control, you think you're going to manage the day, but the Dakar goddess just throws spell after spell, and
I like the way he says it's a goddess, the Dakar
you've
goddess.
got to,
It's not
the mistress
it's
that's
a-
Dakar.
it's a-
You've got to be able to take the punches, you know.
Yeah.
And there's days when you just feel you can't take any more. And a light-hearted moment, you know, I remember several at the fuel stops. There were certain characters in the Dakar that just pop up, and you build a brotherhood with the guys you're riding along with, and you know, you interacting and you sharing experiences, you stopping and helping guys who've fallen or got breakdowns. So yeah, I think I'd say it's a huge positive. I didn't have that luxury of having that team support. I mean, I had with BAS Dakar, but they were a Dutch team they had a role to play with everyone else. So now to be in Team Zimbabwe under Team BAS Dakar it just brings a huge unity.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, the Zim flag is, you know, I stuck it on my bike. I made sure wherever I looked I saw it, because it reminded me why I was there. So you know, you take these little
just
nuances.
brings it home, right?
When it gets hard, you look down, because that's what happens when you're tired. You hang your head,
Yeah.
you see the flag, and you say, lift your head, you know. So
And I think that's such an important thing, talking about Zimbabwe, but also the actual sport as a whole. Ash, my next question for you is, you've been racing, or you've been on a bike since you were 4 years old. It's just, no one can ever doubt that motorbikes is your passion. It's deep rooted. Now, what do you, and I must say, I have seen you give back in a sense of every Sunday you're out there with kids at the track, and you're teaching them, you sharing your knowledge, you sharing your skills. What else is there, or what else are you doing to actually give back to the sport?
So yeah, it's a big thing for me is to keep the sport that I love going. Obviously the next generation might not be me, but the next generation might be another version of me. So I need that back in the sport. So I mean, in terms of giving back, I can, at any one moment, should someone ask my advice, that's what fuels me. If I can tell him to do something that takes me 30 seconds to tell him, but it'll help him for the next however long he's riding for.
Yeah.
Especially
if he listens.
That's something that I thrive for, and I've given a lot of time of training the youngsters, but it also, you know, the sport has developed, the bikes have developed with that. I may have developed with that, but so the older generation as well. And now that I ride with some people that are older than me, they as well. You do something and they go, hey, look, he did it like that. They try that. It's more of a sharing knowledge to whoever's there to give the knowledge to.
Yeah.
So I mean, to give back, I want to do exactly what Graham's doing and keep this fire burning.
Yeah.
The flag of Zimbabwe getting to these massive events. The Dakar, I mean, it's cheapest. Watching it from, I mean, you have no idea the passion that comes to me, and every day I wake up, I think, I've got this opportunity to give to the Dakar. I'm going to do the Dakar, and then I'm going to make sure it carries on. It's going to be, we've started something big here. It's going to continue for as long as as I can. Yeah.
So, just for a little bit of humour here, I want to ask Kama the next question. Kama, that program, that famous program, Top Gear, out of the three guys, who do you identify with? Clarkson, May, or Hammond?